Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Snake People at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. It's the podcast where we talk about growing up and living, queer, nerdy, and depressed, online and at the cinema. From the kids who are once again experiencing existential dread, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Matty.
I'm Helena.
And I'm Ezra.
And we're back at it again. The whole team is here.
The whole gang.
Losing one person, and then we'll be back together, and then we'll lose. It's fine.
Are we sure that it's us?
Oh,
How
fuck.
can you
No
be
shit.
sure?
All right, well, I guess we all have to take blood samples and put a hot wire in them and see what happens. Yeah.
Yep.
I
have a desk chair now that I can tie myself
only way
to.
to be sure.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put a camera like really close to our eyeballs while you ask us about
And ask a bazillion
fucking
questions.
Tortoises.
Yeah. And
I wish they
butterflies
wouldn't.
and stuff.
I mean, I would prefer if that did not happen also, but you know, what must be done
Yeah.
must be done.
Yeah, well, we gotta make sure that we're human. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's the only way. Sorry.
So
I don't make the rules.
in case this barrage of movie references is not immediately comprehensible to anybody listening, welcome to Maddie's birthday unusual double feature episode in which we watched, take it away.
We watched The Thing, 1982, and we watched Blade Runner, 1982. There was a tweet going around online that was like, hey, like, these two movies were in the theaters at the same time. Can you imagine going to see these two in theaters, like, in a double feature together?
Oh, man.
And I was like, holy fuck, we gotta do an episode on this. And because my birthday just happened, I was like, I get to choose what we do an episode on, and I want to do it about The Thing. And Blade Runner, I guess, but mostly The Thing. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I love The Thing. I enjoy Blade Runner a good amount. And I think that they make an interesting pair together.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have a lot to talk about. But before we get into that, what we sneep.
Yeah. You want to go first? Because you are listed first as per
year. Yes, for usual, yes. So if I had been on the last episode, I only would have had, I think, one movie to report. I did not. I watched all those Resident Evil movies, and I was like, I'm never seeing another movie ever again. And I've since recovered for the most part. But I watched The Mortal Instruments, City of Bones, a movie I've previously only seen drunk multiple times.
Yeah.
So it was very fun to see it sober for once. I watched the first
is not good, but does unfortunately whip.
No, it's pretty fun. I had a good time. I spent a lot of time laughing in delight, which I feel is a good marker. I watched the first disc of Fellowship of the Ring because I was having a hard night, and I was like, I want to watch Fellowship, but I don't have time to watch all of it. So we just watched the first disc, and I'll watch the second disc later. But I was like, I don't want to deal with Boromir dying right now. I don't think I have the fortitude for that. I watched Willy's Wonderland, which is that new Nick Cage vehicle where he gets trapped in basically a knockoff Chuck E. Cheese and doesn't say a word the entire movie and kills a bunch of animatronics, and it rules. I watched Tron, the original Tron again, which always a fun time. Watched the Blair Witch Project for the first time, spooky, scary. Watched The Thing, obviously. Watched Blade Runner. A lot of 1982 movies on this list. I've been watching. I picked up my Supernatural rewatch again, slowly plotting my way through season 2. And then I literally, maybe an hour and a half ago, finished watching Saw for the first time, which was really fun, actually. It's summer, and for some reason, summer always makes me want to watch horror movies, and Summer of Screams is very much a thing in my brain. I could not tell you why. So I was like, I don't know what I saw online that was about Saw, and I was like, what if I just finally watched that? So I did, and I was like, oh, what a fucking blast.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I saw. Haha.
Sweet.
Sorry.
What is that? I love it. Yeah, I've kind of separated all of the things that I watched into, like, I'm deciding going forward to watch or not to watch. Luckily for me, everything that I've watched lately has been a fucking banger, so I would say watch all of these. I watched Born in Flames, which is a 1983 movie directed by Lizzie Borden, which was made almost in like a kind of almost documentary style with guerrilla filmmaking tactics, about these groups of women in an imagined future where the U.S. has gone through a social democratic revolution, who the revolution has not been enough and they decide to organize a revolution of their own. It is fucking awesome and cool, and you should watch it. It's on Canopy if anybody has Canopy.
I'm sick.
I rewatched Hello Dolly. Dolly Levi is the best and she could do anything. So if she wants to marry Walter Matthau, by God, I think we should let her. When I was a kid, I imprinted on Cornelius and Barnaby in this movie, and I haven't, recovered from that ever. And I'm also gay from Barbra Streisand, and I got choked up in this movie when she started singing hello to her waiter friends again. It's nothing. This is a very fun, expensive looking musical that was kind of the end of an era for movie musicals because Hello Dolly was such a flop that it ended that era. So I think you should watch it to pay respects to a fallen king. It's very good. I watched a thing. Boys Night in the Arctic goes horribly wrong. Very, very good. That was my second watch. I think that I watched it a few years ago. I can't remember when and where, but it's very fun to revisit it. I knocked off another movie in my Hugh Grant Rotten Tomatoes challenge. I watched Remains of the Day with Anthony Hopkins and Emma Thompson, in which Anthony Hopkins is the butler to a rich Englishman in the 1930s, and Emma Thompson is the housekeeper. They're in love with each other, but Anthony Hopkins is too fucking repressed to do anything about it. It's very, very sad, and it's very, very painful. There's a political storyline which has a lot of bearing, like metaphorically too, on the love story, and it's really, really well done. Kind of perfect. Kind of a perfect movie. I watched this for Hugh Grant, but then I completely forgot about him because Emma Thompson was there. Sucks to be. I watched The Great Muppet Caper, which was delightful. If you don't know the plot to The Great Muppet Caper, it's the one where Kermit and Fozzie are newspaper reporters, and Gonzo was their photographer. And they travel to London to investigate the burglary of a fashion designer's diamond necklaces, played by Diana Rigg. She plays the fashion designer, not the diamond necklaces. And Miss Piggy is the fashion designer's secretary, and she owns this movie. Basically, Miss Piggy owns this movie, and she has to choose at some point between Kermit and Charles Grodin, who plays the thief and who has also fallen in love with her. Please just watch this movie for Charles Grodin alone. He is so fucking funny in it. I was hooting and hollering on my couch alone by myself watching this man just serenade a Muppet. Very, very good.
Baby.
Yeah. I watched The Cremator, which is a very, 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 I don't even know if you could call it a black comedy, but it was just a weirdly, disturbingly kind of funny, but also very, very evil movie about this man who works in a crematorium in 1930s Czechoslovakia, and he believes very firmly in the beauty of his work, and he is invited by an old war friend to join the Nazi party and spy on his Jewish friends, and things go very, very south from there. It was, I think, banned in Czechoslovakia for quite some time, so it didn't, because of its subject matter, and I think it was, I don't know when it got released or what the circumstances around that were, but it's a very, very disturbing, kind of a horror movie, psychological horror, but also, anyway, it can be rough, but I would recommend watching it if people are interested. It's quite good. I also, of course, rewatched Star Trek Wrath of Khan. You know her, you love her, you're crying in the bar at 1 a.m. because she broke your heart again, but you keep coming back every time. I tried to watch Wrath of Khan while assembling a desk chair, and then I gave up on assembling the desk chair and just watched Wrath of Khan. And I cried during that scene. That happens every time, and every time I watch it, the scene doesn't not happen. It happens every time, and I don't know what I expect. And it's good because it's a very good scene, but also I was like sitting on my bed sobbing. Anyway, that's what I've seen.
The mark of a good tragedy is that you watch it over and over again, and you somehow believe that things are going to turn out different this time.
Yeah. Fucking Hadestown ass vibes. Anyway. They were in love.
Yeah. Yeah, they were, bud.
That's what I've seen.
Nice. Okay, I guess it's my turn. Shit. Alright. So I obviously also watched The Thing and Blade Runner. I gotta say, unfortunately, I was starting to fall asleep by the end of Blade Runner. Because my stream got a little choppy, which just made the whole thing even more surreal. So that was weird. And then, other than that, I've been watching The Lord of the Rings one film a week with two of my work buddies, who are not as into it as I am, because most of the population isn't as into it as I am, but are just like fucking delighted. And we had a really good time. I have to get a new job because they've now seen me cry a whole bunch over Lord of the Rings. We can stay friends, but I have to get a new job. I guess just like, I don't know, it's been fun kind of. I'm realizing that it's been fun to have, been a Lord of the Rings fan for literally 20 years, which is 2/3 of my life. And to kind of just keep like a mental diary of like how my emotional responses to certain story beats change as I get older.
Mm-hmm.
It's been interesting to have that, like, because the movie never changes, but I do, and to have that as this kind of measuring stick, that I can keep coming back to and like sort of comparing my responses and seeing how I've changed as a person. And it's sort of like, I know if I haven't gotten tired of them by now, I think I'm not going to.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to think that it's like, wow, guess I'll just like always have that. And speaking of things that I have watched a gajillion times and never get tired of, I was like having a really bad day. And I needed to like stay up to put my laundry in the dryer or something, and I was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I took a weird nap, so I went and I put on the History Boys, which I just love. That's one of those things where it's like, it's, there's some elements of it that probably would be more, I'm not saying they wouldn't go on stage, but they would be seen as like more controversial now, maybe than they were then. I don't know, some of the way that the story treats the behavior of like their teacher, I don't know, they're just it's got some sensibilities that are just from a different time. And it was funny, I was watching it thinking, this is it was refreshing because I feel like I'm so surrounded by and so sick of the, like, fucking late age of fandom, like, purity culture shit that just drives me up the fucking wall. That it would be, I don't know, it felt a lot more like just something that was divorced from that in a way that was cool. And also just, I don't know, I fucking love everybody in that movie. It's just like wall to wall amazing performances. And specific shout out from this podcast to Sam Barnett, who we love very much and are very impressed by, because he's an extremely talented actor who kicks ass. And also, I want him and Jamie Parker to go do more stuff together.
I still need to listen.
Boot. Yeah, you gotta listen to that audio boot of, because them and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead will, just, like, fucking gently reach into your fucking chest and rip your heart out, but, like, in a way. And I want them to just, like, I don't know, be in a fucking musical together or something, because they both have lovely singing voices.
I know.
Yeah.
Their Agony, their version of Agony together is so fucking good. So funny. It's perfect. Perfect, like, just like general casting, like, absolutely, if I was doing a production of Into the Woods and I had to cast Sam Barnett and Jamie Parker, woe is me.
1,000%.
Yeah, it's fantastic casting.
Yeah. That,
amazing.
Like,
I think,
Yeah. Oh, and I'm still reading Children of Hurin, which is, like, just good.
I finished Les Mis. Sorry.
Yeah, you did. You did it.
You sure did, bud.
You climbed that whole fucking mountain. You learned so many things about the history of the Paris sewer system.
Fuck me. God, they weren't kidding about that, huh?
No, and you know what's really kind of cool about the whole chapter that's like, does it get translated as like the Leviathan or in the belly of the Leviathan or something like that, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. The cool thing is that, so, you know, the Paris sewers as they existed when Victor Hugo was writing, as with many things about the city of Paris that existed when Victor Hugo was writing, is not there anymore. Large portions of the, you know, less affluent parts of Paris were just straight up fucking razed to the ground and rebuilt along, like, a grid system to get rid of the old, like, medieval streets and shit, which didn't make any sense. And they, you know, they redid a bunch of shit about the sewers, and basically some of the best records for information about the history of the Paris sewer system do not come from, you know, like, official documents from the people running the Paris sewer system. They fucking come from that fucking chapter of Les Mis.
Yeah.
Just Victor Hugo, like, stopping for a minute to do some fucking public history shit. And I
he talks about the guy who, like, redid that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I went to, because when I was on study abroad, I went to we were going to go to the Musée d'Orsay, and we were going to be stuck in line for like 4 hours, and it was hot, and I was like, you know what? I've been to the Musée d'Orsay. It's extremely cool, but I do not want to wait outside for that long. Let's go to the Paris Sewer Museum. And we did. And obviously the whole thing smelled like poo, but, you know, it was actually really cool. But there was, like, this whole little standee thing about, like, you know, hey, a bunch of this information we know because it was preserved in Victor Hugo's Les Mis, and I just, like, wigged out for a hot minute.
It's, like, it's so detailed, like, geographically detailed, and, like, the whole description of, like, they had this guy come in he wanted to go in and just, like, redo the whole thing, and, like, it's thanks to this guy that we have all of this, and most of them didn't make it because it was so fucking disgusting. Like, that man will use every word in the book to describe something when he wants to, like, really get into your head about what something is like. He will pull out every single adjective he knows, and the way that he describes the sewer is just like, no man, I got you. Like, it's bad, huh? Like, it's really bad. Like, oh god. And that, I mean, but it does work, because then you're like, oh my fucking god, like, Jean Valjean drags this dude through the sewer and almost, like, gets, like, pulled down in quicksand, essentially, but in the sewer because of like, the shit that was down there, literally. Like, oh my god. And then Marius is like, I wonder who would have the devotion to do that. Oh my god. You know, and he's such a fucking idiot. I fucking hate Marius. Anyway. God, I was so frustrated with him the whole book. Anyway.
Look, there was a particular mode of fucking romantic male heroes at the time.
Idiot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, weepy dipshit.
Yeah.
Literally.
God, the fucking worst.
He's a himbo.
The whole chapter.
But, like, non-compliment himbo derogatory.
Yeah.
When he's, like, hiding in the apartment because he's been, like, he tipped off Javert to, like, this thing that's gonna go down with the Thénardiers, and then he, like, sees Valjean, and he's like, but this guy was the guy who saved my father's life, but this guy is the guy who's the father of this chick I'm in love with. And it's like, okay, bro, I need you to have some fucking perspective, because one of these people is obviously not a good guy, and it's obvious by literally everything he's doing, and the other person obviously is. I need you to get it together and do something about it. And then he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's my arch nemesis. Anyway. he's a character in a book, but he's my arch nemesis.
Yeah.
I know that Victor Hugo was like, we must not blame the children, at the end of the book, because they forget about Jean Valjean while he's, like, fucking dying. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we shouldn't blame the children. Yeah, fine. I don't blame Cosette for anything.
Okay, also, Jean Valjean did nothing wrong, so I don't know
also,
what Jean
Valjean did nothing wrong.
He's my favorite character in that whole ass book. I love him so much, and he didn't do anything wrong. And everyone's like, oh, like, what the fuck, being a great dad? Fuck you. Yeah.
What did he do? Everything right. I mean, he stole some bread just to, like, literally to feed his family. Fuck you.
One time!
One time he did it, and then he tried to escape.
Somebody just couldn't let go of it.
Yeah. I cried so much during, like, the last 2 pages of that, where it's just, like, he's dying. And he's like, I just, like, want to see Cosette again, and they find out at the last moment, and then Cosette and Marius go, and it's like, oh, it's so sad.
Yeah,
I cried.
Cosette also did nothing wrong.
Yeah. Cosette also did nothing wrong.
She's great.
Fontaine did nothing wrong.
Yep.
The Barricade Boys, I mean, that's arguable, but I love them anyway. Gavroche did nothing wrong. He's a king. Rest in peace. Eponine, extraordinarily morally dubious, but I love her anyway. Marius is my...
Eponine was really going through it.
She was really going through it.
I can't judge her too harshly.
She's like, yeah, I basically, like, wanted you to die here. Anyway, that didn't work out, huh? Anyway, peace. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, Mood, I also want him to die here, but that's not gonna happen, huh? And then he doesn't. Anyway. Sewer systems. Speaking of
sewer
which...
systems.
No.
Let's not. Victor covered that one for us.
He did.
The subject. Where do I want to start? So, Blade Runner's not a horror movie. Listen, but the pacing of the two movies is very different. I always forget. I've seen Blade Runner one other time. I saw it before I went to go see the sequel. And hot take. So I saw the sequel in theaters, and I was like, this wasn't as good as the first movie. Because what it had to say was significantly less interesting and was something I already knew. As somebody who was raised as a woman in Western society. Like they were like, here's a thing, and I'm like, oh, I'm aware. Like, male fantasies, we've covered this already.
Yeah.
It's just yelling, I know, Margaret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. God, lives, like, we joke about, like, lives in my head rent-free all the time, but that is something that I think about all the time. Like, I will catch myself doing the thing, and then I will just think male fantasies, and I'll be like, I'm so fucking sorry.
I think about that when I watch Jane Winchester and stuff. Anyway.
Stop. You guys already did Supernatural last time. We can't do it again. But I always forget that Blade Runner, it's like early, like, US cyberpunk. I don't even know if it's cyberpunk, like,
yeah, I think so.
Well, because I don't think of it as cyber necessarily, right?
That's fair.
It feels very analog still, but it's like techno-futurism, like tech noir kind of that vibe,
yeah,
right? But it's not an action movie, I would say. It almost, it plods, but plodding feels like an insult, and I don't mean it as an insult in this case. is like the way the pacing is. We watched this with Leia, and Leia was like, I like do not enjoy the pacing of this movie, and I'm like, I think that's very fair. It feels like every moment in Blade Runner is like it's carefully kind of feeling out the next moment. Like it's not entirely sure what's going to happen next. But like the next step may not be on solid ground. Which is so interesting for something which in like the movie culture is like, it's Blade Runner, you know, but it's like it's so thoughtful. It's very interesting. And then in contrast, The Thing is like fucking tense. Like even the moments where there's nothing scary happening, it is like you are just waiting for the next moment of the alien to come and fucking get them. I think all the time about spoilers for both the like Blade Runner and The Thing.
we're just
if you haven't seen
nuts.
them, just watch them. I think about the scene in The Thing, which the first time I watched it like blew me away. Which is the three dudes are tied to the couch and they're testing their blood with the wire, or there's like four or five of them. They're testing their blood to see like who's the alien, and they do like one or two of them and it's fine, and they get to the third guy and the fucking like petri dish like explodes out of his hand, and the guy like starts shaking, and like and there's like shit on fire, and like it just
somebody
explodes.
dies.
Yeah, the release, multiple people die. The release of tension is not like a relief. It's horrible. It is like, oh my god. And then as soon as that moment's over, they go right back to doing their thing. And you're like, oh my god, oh my fucking god. Like
it's brilliant.
And then nothing happens.
Yeah.
And they get through the rest of the testing no problem. And it's like it's so different.
Yeah.
And like the thing is all about like isolation and like almost like the scope of the thing is like, if we do not deal with this thing on a very local level, every single person on the planet will be turned in just over 3 years. Like it is a global scale problem that is happening in this very small Arctic research station. And like Blade Runner, it's like, no, this is just like almost daily life. Like we need to get rid of these replicants. And that's just a thing that happens in this world. It's like so much about the two of them are different, but the core concept of like being human, and like fear of the other, and these movies tackle them in such different ways that it's like, but tackle them in ways that are like really interesting, and like watching them I'm like, oh my fucking god, are you fucking kidding me? Like Rutger Hauer's speech at the end, where he like Harrison Ford is like dangling off and he's about to die, and Roy reaches down and like grabs him and puts it like chooses to save his life, and then has his speech about like everything I've seen all these things that you could never imagine, and they're just gone, they're just going to be gone, and then he just die. He like reaches the end of his built-in lifespan and just dies. I lost where I was going with that whole big thought I was building up to, because I was just thinking about how like impactful that scene is, and like I realized I like didn't realize this previously, but like Deckard's character, like, because he says the end of the monologue is like tears in the rain, these memories will be gone like tears in the rain, and then he dies, and it's obviously raining because that's the whole, you know, blah blah, and like Harrison Ford, I was looking at him like, oh my god, is he crying? But you can't tell because it's raining. Oh my god, it just fucked me up so bad.
It was the thing that I was thinking about when I watched The Thing. Like, I did watch Blade Runner 2, just I had to crap out close to the end there, or rewatch it rather. But the idea that you don't know, or the audience doesn't, sort of knows in Blade Runner, but the other characters don't know from scene to scene if who they're talking to is actually a human being, especially in The Thing, where it's like, that's what I was going to say earlier was I'd seen The Thing one time before, I think a few years ago. But this rewatch was like so tense for me because I couldn't remember. I kind of remembered who was left at the end, but I couldn't remember who got turned first and how it happened and how the events proceeded, so to speak. So I was like, oh fuck. I remember the dog, obviously. But then after that, I was like, I don't know. Like the whole thing with what's his name, the animal handler, like we're led to believe that it's very, very likely that he probably was exposed to, because they have that scene where the dog is like wandering through the halls at night and he probably goes into his room. If it is his room. But then it's like, oh no, they do the blood test after like he attacks Kurt Russell and Kurt Russell fucking shoots him and kills him. Yeah. And like that's the thing that like Keith David like calls him out on too, is like they did the blood test and it's like, oh nope. He was fine, and you just killed him. You killed the person.
You just murdered him, dude.
You're a murderer.
You're a murderer now.
I've seen this movie multiple times, but I always forget the order. Like, I remember the ending because the ending also of that movie just, like, is so fucking good. I love that both these movies have, like, very ambiguous endings. But I never remember the order in which people die. Like, because it's a pretty sizable cast in The Thing. And all of them die except for two of them, who are left together at the end. So like I've seen this movie, but I can never remember like how everything kind of shakes out because there's a lot of people to keep track of. So yeah, it's, even if you know what's going to happen, it's still so tense of like, okay, but which domino is gonna fall next? Yeah. Like, they think they've got it handled, and then something else happens. And, like, okay, I think we've got everybody, and then they don't. Yeah. God. Ugh. Yeah. It's so fucked up that, like, I was saying this when we were watching it to Z, that, like, in an early part of the movie, they, like, go out on the ice, because they are like, oh, the Norwegians dug something up, we should go to their dig site, basically, and see what we could find. And they go there and it's a fucking spaceship. There's a whole spaceship in that movie in the ice. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, it's been down there for 10,000 years. And that's like not even a part of the movie that matters.
Nope. Yeah. Because they're too busy trying to fucking survive. Yeah.
It's like so like the scale of, like I said, is so huge. Yeah. But like it's like not even relevant because all that's relevant is they're like desperately trying to survive. Yeah. Yeah, and like
just a moment to contemplate the Lovecraftian horror of it all, so to speak, and then the cosmic horror, rather. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, man. And it's so, it's funny because, like, they're both about, kind of, like, the horror of, like, being or not being human, but in The Thing, it is like the thing that is the alien, the being that is not human, is actively aggressive and is trying to become you. Whereas like in Blade Runner, the like replicants are trying to become you, but it's like a tragedy. Because they have been they are like built to die. And they are like so close to human, and that has been like stripped from them. Yeah.
In Blade Runner, it's like they're trying to become a you that's not like an individual you. They just want to have they want to have like a normal human life, and not be hunted, right? And like they're right, the replicants are right. I'm sorry. Yeah. They're right. Everybody else is wrong. Don't be sorry. Yeah. Yep. Where in The Thing, it's like the body horror in The Thing, I think, is especially why the body horror in it is so effective, is like, it's not just the visual effects that, like, the actual literal body horror that we see, like, visually happening, but it's the idea of it that you said that's, like, the idea that somebody could literally devour you and take over your appearance and pretend to be you, and like that's like literally taking your individuality and everything that makes you a person, and then taking it away from you, and then using it to, you know, do whatever. Like that's what's really truly like horrifying. I mean, I think it's kind of an invasion of the body snatchers thing too, which would probably make a pretty good double feature with this as well. Just with some absolutely insane looking special effects that just make it really pop off.
But the thing is, I think that the same like the fear, what you are afraid of in the thing is in a certain way the same fear that's driving the characters in Blade Runner. The audience isn't afraid of the replicants. Like, we're not supposed to be afraid of the replicants. Well, we might be afraid of, like, their individual, like, capacity to do violence or something like that, but we're not, like, afraid of them conceptually. But the whole thing about, like, why are the replicants built with this 4-year planned obsolescence thing? It is that fear of replacement by something artificial.
Right.
It's just way more, like, disgusting in the thing, you know, but it's the same, it is the same kind of fear of, like, the doppelganger.
Yeah.
But it's just that in the thing, we're feeling it alongside the characters, and in Blade Runner, we're being shown it and asked to critique it in the characters.
Yeah. Ah, makes sense. Yeah.
There's also this concept of, like, in the thing, like, that portion, the, like, the other taking over and replacing you is, like, out of your control. It is, like, invasive. And it like, and you die. It's not
you
like
super die.
It's not like we lose our jobs or whatever, which I think is kind of more, or whatever that may be, you know. It's, the stakes seem lower. It is like, it's so intrusive. That is, it is, once again, it's the personal versus the general, where in, like, the thing, it is, I am going to lose myself, who I am as an individual, whereas the Blade Runner, it's like, we as, like, humans, I'm like, they're not afraid, like, a specific replicant is gonna come for me specifically and take over my life. It's like, we're gonna, like, lose to them. We're gonna lose control over them, kind of.
Yeah, the political things that my mind is doing are, like, going all over the place like a pinball machine. Right. Thinking about the time that both these movies came out in, especially. I mean, in any period of time, really, but, like...
like, I mean, all speculative fiction is unavoidably a commentary on the period, like, the time in which it was made.
Right.
Which is something that I said when we were watching Blade Runner last night, and then was just like, wow, fuck, sometimes I'm really pretentious.
But it's true, though.
It's true.
I know it is, but
pretentious.
I say shit like that, like, I phrase things like that, and I go, like, oh yeah, maybe I should have, like, finished my bachelor's degree, and then I'm like, nope.
Fuck it.
Fuck that.
You just said that for free. Didn't need to get a debt for that one.
There you go. I'm thinking about, like, both of these. I'm just thinking about how, like, you know, the early 80s, you still have kind of the dying edges of the fear of, like, communist takeover, and like the kind of like fear that sort of propaganda boogeyman of the idea that, like, communism strips people of their individuality. I mean, and, like, hang on, the
Berlin Wall was still up. That came out in 89.
Oh, yeah. So Blade Runner, of course, is based on the Philip K. Dick novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Which
The Thing
was
is also based on a novel.
fucking published in 1968. So, like, you know, big old Cold War, Vietnam, you know, there's such a, you know, you've got kind of the lingering bits of that Cold War paranoia, and like the, you know, the first possibilities of artificial intelligence. You know, you fucking see the fucking artificial chess games are a thing in both of these movies.
Yeah. That's right.
The concept of playing chess against a computer.
Yeah.
Because that was such a like fucking crystallization, the idea of like programming a computer that could beat a person at chess was such like that was a threshold, you know, that was an easy thing for people who didn't like have a whole lot of knowledge about like computing to understand. That was like an easy threshold for people to see.
Oh my, and that's one of the first things we see any of the Americans do in The Thing is get beat by a computer at chess.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And
now
then,
I just like
you know, like, and then you have in Blade Runner, it's because Blade Runner is just a more nuanced movie than The Thing, which is a value-neutral statement.
Absolutely,
The Thing is a horror movie. The point of horror is that you, like, exaggerate things in order to, like, you know, make them scary, but also, like, you blow things up so you can see the shape of them.
Yeah.
And Blade Runner is just a more subtle film than that. But you have the thing of, like, the head of the Tyrell Corporation thinks that he's playing chess against another person.
Yeah.
But it is the replicant giving him... He is playing against a computer because Roy is telling him...
And he gets beat.
Yeah, and he gets beat. And so he's been beaten by the computer, but he doesn't know. So he still has that, he's still in that sort of hubris mode that is what allows, you know, him to get squished.
Yeah.
Weirdly, cannot believe that I, like, handled notable body horror freak out guy. Handled The Thing no problem, partially because I was also on Pokemon Go furiously trying to catch enough Bidoof to get the Bidoof hat, and it is very difficult to be afraid of anything when you have just caught like 40 fucking digital beaver
Bidoofs
Pokemon.
I just like really want to watch War Games now, though.
Yeah, we should watch War Games. I've never seen it. Just
now that you've been talking about this, like, and I think that War Games came out in 1983. Sorry, I just like went right in the middle of your story.
No. I mean, like, clearly something was on the minds of people making movies in the early 80s, huh?
Yeah,
wonder what that could be.
I mean, oh fuck. God, I love that movie. Not as good of a movie as like The Thing, but like I love that movie.
Anyway, the end of the story was just that, like, also, you know, fucking, the head of the Tyrell Corporation gets his eyeballs squished, and, I, like, desperately and extremely could not watch that happen. Mostly because, like, eye scream is my big, like, thing that I can't handle. But, there's fucking, weird eyeball shit in The Thing, and I was just sitting there like, oh man, these props are so well done.
Yeah.
Like, damn, who made this? This whips.
Yeah, the props are incredible. Yeah. I can't help but sorry to talk about Resident Evil. I cannot help but wonder if some of the early design for Resident, because like looking at like the dogs specifically, I'm like, man, like there is some DNA in what would come in Resident Evil later, and it may have just been unintentional. But like the abundance of eyes, the way the head split open, like there's definitely something there. But also like something about too many eyes is just always scary, right? Like this thing is looking at me and it has way too many eyes.
Yeah,
to look at me with.
If I ever get fucking visited by an angel, it really is gonna have to do the be not afraid thing and then shut a bunch of its eyes, because I'm just gonna be freaking directly the fuck out.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man.
I would like to, so The Thing was not very popular when it came out.
Oh which is absurd to me.
Critically. Once it went on to like home video and had its own little midnight movie run, became very popular, and is now regarded as a classic. But when it first came out, it was not critically well received. I would like to take the view that Stephen Sondheim takes, which is that you, instead of saying that thing like where you don't speak ill of the dead, you only speak ill of the dead and try not to speak ill of those who are still living and are still with us. So instead of like going through and making fun of all of the people who wrote a bad review of the thing back when it came out, I'm only going to focus on the guy who is now dead, because nothing can happen.
Sounds good.
This is just, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is Vincent Canby from the New York Times in 1982. He just wanted to let us know that John Carpenter's The Thing is a foolish, depressing, overproduced movie that mixes horror with science fiction to make something that is fun as neither one thing or the other. Sometimes it looks as if it aspired to be the quintessential moron movie of the 80s, a virtually storyless feature composed of lots of laboratory-concocted special effects, with the actors used merely as props to be hacked, slashed, disemboweled, and decapitated, finally to be eaten and then regurgitated as, guess what, more laboratory-concocted special effects. There may be a metaphor in all this, but I doubt it. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
God, talk about missing the point.
Like all such movies that don't trust themselves to keep an audience interested by legitimate dramatic means, which is fucking wild. I don't know what movie you're watching. The Thing shows us too much of the thing too soon so that it has no place to go. It plods in circles from one mock horror effect to the next. I don't agree with this.
Oh my god, okay. No, finish your thing. I'm gonna put a pin on that specific statement of it shows us too much of the thing too soon. Because that drives me up a fucking wall.
I'm just reading 2 more paragraphs. It's entertaining only if one's needs are met by such sights as those of a head walking around on spider-like legs. Check.
Which was fucked up.
Autopsies on dogs and humans in which the innards explode to take on other not easily identifiable forms. Hand severings, immolations, worm-like tentacles that emerge from the mouth of a severed head. Yeah, that's fucking whips. I'm listing all these things.
Yeah, I was entertained by all of those. Those were all fucked up.
Or 2 or more burned bodies fused together to look like spare ribs covered with barbecue sauce. That's pretty funny. The Thing, which opens today at the Rivoli and other theaters, is too phony looking to be disgusting. It qualifies only as instant junk. Which is how he ends it. I think I would like Vincent Canby to know, wherever he is, that my needs are indeed met by all of those things.
Yeah, what an idiot.
I want
to know really aggressive, but
what this dude thought about Alien.
God.
Let me see if he wrote a review about it. We can't all be right all the time, unlike, us or whatever.
Yeah, and like we
for libel purposes, that's not true.
But I sorry, I'm gobsmacked.
Please go ahead. Yes,
we all like different things. That's fine. That's none of my business. The idea that like the horror of something must come from it being hidden is so beyond me. Because I there are times where the idea that like the horror of a monster movie is this thing you don't see, you don't know what it looks like, and you don't see it coming. Absolutely. Halloween is scary as fuck, and you see Michael Myers like immediately.
Yeah, and I think I don't agree with him that it's not that because we see the monster when the dog turns early on in the movie does not mean that, like, oh, now we know where the monster is all the time.
Because
the point of the movie... know what
the monster could do.
Exactly. The point of the movie is that we don't know... We're slowly discovering what this thing is. They have they meet this monster and have this horrible thing happen before they have the information to confront it. Before they really can even realize that something is wrong. And so then they have to work backwards to figure out what to do, and so they're already behind time, which is already scary, and it's stressful and and anxious. You're not even in a horror movie.
In the Antarctic, and they have not been able to contact anybody for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And it's the beginning of winter, and nobody will be able to come get them until spring.
Yeah. And they don't know who is They don't know who's been infected. They don't know...
And you don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is not a dramatic irony situation. Like, there is no way for the audience to figure it out before the characters figure it out.
Yeah, and you never do.
No.
There's never a point you think, he's won, I know, the movie ends, if you haven't seen the thing, and you've already been spoiled, doesn't matter, it ends with, oh my god, I am blanking on names, somehow! Kurt Russell.
Yes.
And, Keith David, is that right?
Yes, Keith David.
Yes. It ends with the two of them, so arguably the two biggest names in the movie. Kurt Russell is kind of vaguely the protagonist, but, like, at about the halfway point, you're like, oh my god, I think he's turned. Like, you have no clue which one of them is turned or not. Their entire base is on fire. Everybody else is dead. You think the Thing might be dead, but you're not sure. Kurt Russell sits there and he's like, oh fuck, it's just me. And then Keith David rolls up, and they sit there staring at each other, and that's how the movie ends, is the burning building in the background and the two of them looking at each other like, and you have no clue if both of them are turned, or neither of them, or one of them, or which one of them. It is like, and then that's it.
Yeah.
That's the end.
It's interesting.
It's incredible.
Here I found Vincent Canby's review of Alien, and I don't think that he, like, disliked it as much as he disliked The Thing, but this is very interesting. Halfway down the review, he says it is a don't race to it expecting the wit of Star Wars, which is pretty funny, or the metaphysical pretensions of 2001 and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. At its best, it recalls The Thing, though the Howard Hawks film was both more imaginatively and more economically dramatized. Referring, of course, to the original...
The Thing from Another World.
Yeah, from 1950s that The 53. Thing is based off of, yeah. So that's interesting, because Ezra, you were just saying that it's like... Was that yesterday, or... Who? Oh, God. Maybe it was me. I was like watching it being like, this is kind of like Alien. Because they're all trapped.
Like 5 minutes ago, I was like, what do you think? No, that was just me 5 minutes ago going, well, what did you think about Alien? Because I had to look up when Alien was made.
Yeah, it was like...
They're both like...
We're fine.
But when I was watching The Thing again, I was like, this is the claustrophobia of The Thing, and like the production design of it, which is so delightfully messy and cluttered, reminds me a lot of Alien, and like, because they're all trapped there, and they're slowly being picked off one by one, and they're stuck there.
Yeah.
And they have nowhere else to go.
And they like don't trust each other, and they're like, in Alien they are abandoned because the company has abandoned them. Yeah. And in The Thing, the case is like nobody even knows what's happening to them, and no one can do anything about it, which is also fucked up.
And they do, like, they mostly trust each other. It's just that, like, one of them is being a little bit naughty. So, for lack of a better word.
Oh, man.
She doesn't seem to like Alien that much either, which is like...
You fucking idiot.
It's so funny that this
dude didn't know shit about dick.
Some people
he ends this
dumb
review
about genre film, and some people still are dumb about genre film.
He ends this review saying, when I first saw what in 2001, when you first saw something in 2001, it was awesome. Now it makes me feel like a turtle on a busy, though unnaturally quiet highway, which is such an image. I mean, the guy could obviously write. I gotta hand that to him. It's just so funny.
Yeah, too bad he didn't know anything about movies. I know I'm taking really strong stances here, but I'm like...
He had a job for quite a long time with the New York Times, but, you know, that's
so he
very
must have
fair.
known something about something, but clearly, like, this specific genre of, like, horror, sci-fi, that kind of thing was just not his bag, maybe. And that's fine. Like, it is not the bag for many a person.
This can't be
it happens to be mine, so... yay.
This can't be the same guy that Sondheim has talked about. I can't... Because he was... because he was the movie critic of the New York Times up until the 90s, and then he became their theater critic. I don't think, maybe it's not him. Okay, cool. Oh, thank God. Whew. I was about to like destroy this man. Because there's definitely a popular critic in New York who Sondheim mentions a couple of times in his lyric collections, where he's like, yeah, this is like one guy who particularly just did not like me.
Well,
at all.
I mean, I'm not going to do it while we're recording, but if it's in the first one, I am literally looking at it right now.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. I left mine at home, unfortunately.
Okay. I only have Finishing the Hat. I haven't gotten around to buying Look, I Made a Hat.
I think he talks about it in the Sweeney Todd chapter, and I can't remember after
I'll double
what
check.
song.
Yeah, just remind me to check for you later.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, The Thing, not critically well received, but vindicated by time, as sometimes things are.
Yes.
I can understand. It's like, I guess I can understand that if you were if you were taken out of the experience of watching the movie by how just straight up gross the effects are instead of pulled further in, I can understand how you would be like, this movie kind of just, it wouldn't, you wouldn't be able to engage with it, and therefore it would be hard to appreciate. But man, you're a fucking movie critic. Get over your shit.
I was looking at the Wikipedia page, I think yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, because that's when we watched it. And someone on Wiki, God bless that website, mentioned that, E.T. also came out that summer. So there's this,
oh, right.
summer blockbuster of, meeting an alien, and it's, a family film, very positive. And then later on, you've got The Thing, which is, depressing as shit.
Yeah,
and,
really is.
has a, weird, ambiguous ending, and, is gross. I feel like I also, if I had watched E.T. and then watched The Thing, I think maybe I also would not have had a very positive reaction to The Thing.
It's entirely possible.
But it is... I know that we are, singing its praises upside down and backwards. I cannot stress enough that if you have any interest in, horror at all, or even just, sci-fi or, stuff like that you should watch The Thing. It's just so well made.
It's very... I don't know, maybe it's that I don't usually watch movies like that, which is, I don't, because I am... as a general rule, a massive weenie about horror stuff. But I just, it was just not like anything I had seen in a while, which was a fucking novelty.
I would even say that The Thing is not really like anything else I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It has, you could easily draw comparisons to Alien. Obviously, we're drawing comparisons to Blade Runner. There are things that you could say, this kind of slots into this genre. But when I first saw it, I watched it with Higu, who I've talked about many a time on this show, I believe. And we watched it together.
Does Higu count as friend of the podcast, or?
I would say so. At some point, we'll have Higu on. Higu has mentioned wanting to be on the show.
Yes.
And I think Higu would be a great addition.
Would love
to have on as a guest. But we watched it together, and it made such an impact that, I didn't see it for, several years afterwards, and I would still think about it, all the time.
Hell yeah.
I would love to just, speaking of the effects, which we were speaking of earlier, John Carpenter amazes me. I just
madman.
What a hero,
I say,
for sure.
with all the love in the world. What a fucking madman!
I was just thinking about thinking about how he's composed the score for Halloween too, in addition to directing it. But I was thinking of one effect in particular towards the end of The Thing, where spoilers, but no spoilers. I won't say their characters' names, partly because I can't remember them. But one character who has already been devoured. So it is the Thing. creeps up on another character and sort of silently, like, puts its, like, hand over his face.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like, I'm doing it to myself now, so sorry if my voice became muffled, just to visualize it. And then his hand, like, merges with his face until it's, like, stretching, like, oh my god.
It's so fucked up.
So fucked up and so cool. And I, like, there's one of those things where just, like, I feel like if I thought about it and I watched, like, a behind-the-scenes thing, and they showed how they did it, I'd be like, oh, of course. But I don't know how they did it, and it's fantastic. And it's so simple. Yeah. It's practical effects rule, man.
They really do.
For sure.
Like the matte painting of the spaceships. Ugh.
Yeah,
so
fucking
good.
Once again, as per usual, this is a practical effects are king podcast.
Yeah. Speaking of, I was browsing through the Blade Runner tech on Tumblr the other day, just like, I was just looking. And I saw there was like a master post of like people who had built minis of cities. So obviously like Lord of the Rings was on there and stuff. And one of the first shots was like a huge, like big table covered in this miniature of the city. I think it's LA. Is that what Blade Runner takes place in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of this like future LA that they built clearly for that like crane shot at the beginning of the movie. And it's just incredible. It's huge.
Yeah.
They built all these buildings and it was so cool to look at. And like, I don't really I looked up how they shot the thing because we were like, Ezra was like, why is it light out if it's winter?
Oh, that was
like,
just me being that was just me being weird and pedantic because and I vaguely feel the need to plug this because it was so good. I used to I'm really fascinated by like stuff where people are just like voluntarily isolated for a really long time. So like polar, like research shit really interests me. But somebody wrote a really kick-ass like fucking novel-length She-Ra fanfic where it's people like on an Antarctic research thing, and I was just like using that as my fucking template. I just like to drag myself on this podcast periodically.
I mean, really what else is a podcast for? Yeah. But they filmed it in a few different locations. They like built a set in LA to film part of it, which I thought was cool. Which obviously that was all the interior shots,
which is so nuts.
Yeah. And they filmed some of it in like Canada, obviously, and Alaska, obviously. But I like have no clue how they filmed Blade Runner, and I would love to see, because so much of that movie is these like dense. Obviously, some of it is like set buildings that were sets that they must have, but so much of it is these like dense, crowded streets that just go like all the way up that people move through, and I'm like, is that all set? Is that like how much of that is like, I mean, it's the 80s. I can't imagine too much of it is computer generated. So like, I just would be fascinated to see a behind the scenes on like how they filmed those areas. I will say, to dunk on Blade Runner a little bit, I don't love this trend that I feel like Blade Runner was kind of a forerunner in.
No, I was just going to bring that up.
Yes.
Is American filmmaking when they do cyberpunk, where they like specifically steal from like they are referencing like Tokyo, Hong Kong, like northeastern Asian cities, and they're like, it's dystopian because everything looks like these places, and also we are using like random Japanese phrases everywhere and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like that they did.
Again,
I found sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, back to my point that, like, all speculative fiction is a comment on the moment in which it is made. Like, it is racist and bad, and also is, like, a reflection of the racist fears about, like, the rise of Japan as, like, a dominant exporter of technology. Because, there was this perception that we, of course, had, fucking dropped nuclear bombs on them. And it was sort of one of those things where I was like, and that means that Japan has been, like, neutralized. And, like, oh no, what if it is no longer neutralized?
Yeah. Yeah.
I found
and
a
it's
quote.
because it is racist because people were fucking being racist, like, in their lives at this time. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Is a quote, I don't know if this is the term that people use for it or if it's just the name of the book that it's from, but techno-orientalism. The quote that they use is, what will the future look like? To judge from many speculative fiction films and books, from Blade Runner to Cloud Atlas, the future will be full of cities that resemble Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai, and it will be populated mainly by cold, unfeeling citizens who act like robots. Techno-Orientalism investigates the phenomenon of imagining Asia and Asians in hypo or hyper-technological terms, while critically examining the stereotype of Asians as both technologically advanced and intellectually primitive, in dire need of Western consciousness raising, which I think just pretty much covers it. Like, that's it, baby. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's pretty wild to dunk on Blade Runner 2049 a little bit, too, that it's still there. Like, they haven't...
Yeah. They didn't critically examine it because they were like, I mean, this is what the original Blade Runner was like.
I'm not fucking watching anything that is gonna uncritically, just recycle the fucking anti-Asian racism of sci-fi, of, like, speculative fiction at this point, or the, like... My big thing is that, like, I'm done watching speculative fiction stuff that is, like, where a primary, like, driver of the story is the exploitative commodification of the female body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I don't care, man. Like, I don't fucking...
Dude, I know.
Like, I get it, yeah.
I know. I, like, quote-unquote have
body,
one.
bro.
Like, I have a body that has boobs. Like, I understand the fucking commodification of the fucking quote-unquote female form or whatever. Like, I got it. Like, and it's just so... Because it's like, it doesn't have, a lot of times it doesn't have anything interesting to say about it.
Exactly.
It's just like, oh, well, yeah, it's bad, and we're gonna keep doing it because it gives us an excuse to have titties on screen. This is why I refuse to watch Altered Carbon.
This is, when, back in the brief period of time when I was, like, taking notes at movies or something, I took a notebook to Blade Runner 2049, and one of the things I remember taking was, like, that scene with Jared Leto, one of the earlier scenes where he, like, has the new replicant, I guess, and she's naked for some reason. I was like, okay, so I get what this is trying to say, but it's kind of in critiquing the commodification of women, it's exploiting women.
It's attempting to critique the exploitation of women by doing the thing.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying you can't have titties on screen, like, goodness knows we could all do with some more of it, but, like, there's ways and means in which you can do it. Tell your, like, have your message. And to have Jared Leto in it, I mean, it's the metatextual, like, implications of it, too, are kind of gross, of course. But that's, like, neither here nor there. Okay.
That's, I remember seeing that movie in a theater, and as I mentioned, like, I was like, it's aesthetically very interesting to look at, but I remember sitting there the whole time, like, waiting for there to be a second half of the sentence, because the first half was, the commodification of women exists and is bad, and I was like, yeah, I agree. What's the wrap-up thought there? And the wrap-up thought was, it exists, and it's bad. And I was like, I know.
It exists, and it's bad. See how bad it is? Have we convinced you of how, ooh, look again. Are you sure you know how bad it is?
I was like, yeah, I know. Dude, I live it. That's my lived experience, dog. Yeah, and especially coming from Blade Runner, where, like, so the sequel was like, the commodification of women exists and is bad, and I was like, and then the first one was like about the nature of, like, human existence and shit, and, like, what makes you a human being, and, like, shit like that. And I'm like, wow, like, you guys looked at this movie that had kind of an interesting and complicated and layered idea, though there are parts of the execution I do not enjoy, and then your next thought was like, great, so we're gonna make, and even if they like, what does it mean to be a woman? How does that factor into the existence of humanity and what a complicated layer that is to exist or be perceived as a woman. What does that add on to it? But they didn't even go there. Like, it was like, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
It was not very thoughtful. And like, even the part where, like, both of the protagonists of both of these movies, Blade Runner, it is implied that Deckard could also be a replicant, and it is that ambiguity that I find to be interesting. The idea that in both movies the protagonist may or may not be, well, in the second one he definitely is, I think.
Yeah,
a replicant,
for sure. Yeah.
Right? They didn't even say anything interesting with that. Like, they took one of the most interesting parts of the first movie, and then they were like, and we've done it again. And I'm like, cool, do you have anything, like, new or interesting to say on that concept from the first movie? And they were like, no.
Yeah, you're like, dude, it's been 40 years. You want to, like, add anything to the conversation? 1982, dude.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, we're not even gonna make it ambiguous. We're just gonna confirm it this time. Isn't it fucked up to have something hunt its own beings? And I'm like, yeah, like, they did that with, like, Blade.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Blade Runner does genuinely have it is, I think, asking some thought-provoking questions about, like, you know, if we can create a facsimile of, like, conscious life, at what point does it get close enough that we're, like, ethically obligated to treat it as conscious life?
Mm-hmm.
You know, at what point, when you're making fucking artificial people, at what point do you gotta treat them like real people?
Yeah.
I think about the fucking episode of Star Trek Next Generation where they're they're going with Measure of a Man or whatever it's called. Where like, hey, is Data a person? Has more to fucking say about that subject than Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
Oh,
man, I think about the scene in the original Blade Runner, where the creator guy, the guy who's the CEO, is talking to Roy, and he's like, no, like, we can't undo this process. There's nothing I can do for you. Like, you are going to die. And they're talking about, like, and Roy's like I've done such terrible things. Like, I've killed all these people, and, like, he's like, and you've done incredible things. Like, you have surpassed us. You are the prodigal son. And it's like, and yet it becomes patronizing, right? Yeah. Like, you've surpassed us, and
it's like, okay, but what kind of fucking consolation is that?
Here's your consolation prize, is that you are the peak of what we could be, and I programmed you to die because the best you could be shouldn't last that long. I think he said something along the lines of, like, the candle that burns brightest, like, burns twice as fast or something.
Yeah. But there's you know, they talk about how the part of the reason that they did the planned obsolescence thing was that they made the replicants so that they could, you know, like, learn and grow and change and stuff. And the idea was that there was this fear that they were going to, you know, they were going to develop beyond the ability to control them. And so the answer is to just, like, well, okay, well, we can't let them live long enough for that to happen.
Yeah. Because he hits the peak of basically, like, achieving human understanding and emotion and comprehension, and dies. Yep.
Whereas
what the
Data,
fuck does the sequel have to say? Whereas Data is a living human
friend,
and I love him, and I would do anything for
whereas
him.
Data is fucking
the best.
Whereas Jean-Luc Picard has basically been thinking of himself as Data's widow for 20 years. God, I love Star Trek Picard.
There's that quote from Data's Day that just, like, gets me every single time at the end of it, because, like, the whole Data's Day is just, like, set on the day of, like, Keiko and O'Brien's wedding, right? And Data has been asked to be, like stand-in for Keiko's dad to give her away.
Oh.
And what is he has a line that just like fucking kills me at the very end, and I'm trying to find it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, and I'm blanking on it also.
I will find it very, very shortly because I know I think I
just thinking about stories about androids and
the ones that Star Trek does are pretty good.
Fuck you, Detroit
watch
Become
a bunch
Human.
of Next Gen. Dude, I'm my roommate keeps threatening to get like a secondhand copy of Detroit Become Human so that he can play it exclusively when he's drunk.
Here it is.
And I'm like,
David
okay, I
Cage.
legitimately want to watch him play that movie while we're both drunk. Play that
David
movie.
Cage
Fuck, you know
so
what I mean.
much.
Yeah, he's a huge
I know what
bitch.
you mean. David Cage can beat me in the fucking pit.
The quote is
Sorry,
that he's watching the wedding, and then he says, "There are still some human emotions I do not understand: anger, hatred, revenge. But I am not mystified by the need to be loved or to have friendship. These are things I do understand." It's just really simple. Like, he gets it. And there's a really nice episode earlier on in that season too with I'm blanking on the name of the episode, but with Tasha Yar's sister. That they meet later.
I don't remember. I know which one. I don't remember what that one's called though.
Yeah, and like she's kind of going behind their back and trying to get some manipulating them, but she's kind of like becomes friends with Data. And like Data had this, some kind of relationship with Tasha. That was a bad episode, so I forget that it's canon. But they have this kind of friendship, like romantic friendship going on, and she's like asking him, like, can you have friends? Like, do you feel love in that way? And he's like, it's more like, you become used to somebody because it's like your neural pathways or something. Like, you're becoming used to the presence of a person and then you miss them when they're not there. And I was like, yeah, that is what it is though, Data. It is kind of what friends are. I love him. I love my son. I'm also like, I really want to watch iBorg with everybody, with the group when I get to that episode. Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Love of my life.
Star Trek.
Well, love of my life is Hugh, and Star Trek also, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Hugh.
It's so nice that he definitely didn't die in Star Trek Picard.
It's so nice that he definitely lived forever, yeah.
That got me so fucking bad that I went and read a bunch of truly execrable fanfiction. Like, immediately afterward, dude, it was real bad. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I imagine it was.
Just me yelling, unbreak my heart at Archive of Our Own.
Look, he's a gay robot. Not a gay robot, he's a gay cyborg. I don't know what you want from me.
Ezra, you are my favorite. Okay, question. Is he a cyborg or is he an android?
He's a cyborg. Hugh is a... Oh, no. Data is a... Hugh is a cyborg because... Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Hugh... I got confused about who you were talking about for a second. I was like, wait a minute.
No, I was talking about Hugh briefly, and Hugh is a cyborg because he is part Borg. But he's my favorite. But he is gay. He actually is played by what's his name? Jonathan. I can't never pronounce his last name. The activist, Jonathan Darko, who is a gay actor and activist for like human rights campaign and lots of other stuff. He's awesome. So I'm choosing to believe that he is also, his character Hugh is gay as well, because fuck you, I do what I want. I'm a homosexual.
Yep.
And that's my right. Anyway, off topic. Do you think that Deckard is a replicant?
That is a great question. And I try and think about it of like, what would make a more compelling story if he isn't and learns to like not give a shit about the space between humanity and replicant, or if he is and it is a story of self-acceptance instead.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly like the idea that he is Schrödinger's replicant, where we don't know and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That he both is and isn't, And I like the idea that maybe he doesn't know and he will never know. And that is just part of his story. I don't remember if they say anything about it in the sequel. I don't care. That's not my truth. It's like, I'm sorry for the sentence. It's like the end of Inception where he spins the top and then he walks to go see his kids. And it does not matter if the top falls or not, because the point is not if he is in the dream or not. The point is that he is finally free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the point for Deckard is that he could or he couldn't be. And the point is that there really is no difference between them.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, that's actually perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, the point is that
fucking film degree.
Hell yeah. No, Matty, I think you're completely right. The most, for me, the most satisfying ending is the knowledge that he is his conception, like his concept of what it means to be human has changed over the course of this movie. That's so much more interesting to me than some sort of like gotcha one way or the other. Yeah. That's a satisfying
or that he
the
was,
end of the thing is a ambiguity can be satisfying.
Yeah, exactly. Where the point of the thing is like there is no victory for either side. It is the like they're like in the perfect little box of the movie, not to take this Schrödinger's cat thing further. In that perfect little box of the movie, there is always the struggle between like the preservation of self and like the other. That there is always that kind of perpetual war happening for them, and we never get to know like, did we lose, did we win? Because the point of the movie is not trying to win. The point of the movie is like trying to keep yourself and like not lose yourself. The like process of that is more important than the outcome.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like
the smartest shit I've said all year.
I was just gonna say, like, between the two of those, if it was two options of Deckard being a replicant and him not being a replicant, I would find him being a replicant more interesting. But what I actually find the most interesting is your version, where it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because there's other stuff that's going on here that's more important.
Yeah. I do agree that, like, if it had to be one or the other, the idea that, like, this whole time he has been hunting replicants, that is the best at what he does, and the, like, the dawning realization of like that is what he has also been, and like how do you struggle with like you've spent your whole career being the best at destroying these people, but like how is that any different from being a murderer because you are one of them? But I do think that the interpretation of like that doesn't really matter is still like if it's like no, he was human the whole time, then it's like, okay, well then this is just a story of a man who was like, wow, slavery is bad.
Whoops, not my problem.
Yeah, I mean,
but I fell in love and now I understand. And it's like, okay.
Because I guess if you do explicitly reveal him to be a replicant, then it's this sense of like, oh, you know, there's the extent to which, you know, making the replicants as close to human as possible, but with this built-in expiration date is kind of this weird way to like satisfy the human like quote-unquote death drive, set against like the usual sci-fi thing of everybody's trying to live forever. You know, it's like then you like, okay, but you know, there's so much the fucking all of mythology is like, hey, by the way, living forever possibly not a great idea, my dude. What
does he say?
The Sybil would like a word. So you just get this interesting idea of like that humanity is then like externalizing that like anxiety about like, oh, maybe everything does have to die by creating simulacrums of themselves that can do it for them.
There's also that guy says at the end of the movie like she's going to. What does he say exactly? Because it's so good. Like she's going to die, but don't we all at the end? I'm gonna look at this quote really quick.
Yeah, she's not. I think it says she's not gonna make it, but then again, who does?
Oh yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah,
at least the then again, who does is correct because I can hear it in my head. I don't know about the first part of it.
It's a shame she won't live, but then again, who does?
Right, there it is. Yeah. Oy.
Oof.
Yeah.
This would have been fun to see in theaters.
Oh, for sure. God,
on the same
please.
Day.
Yeah.
At God, please. You can, I mean, you can't rent out movie theaters, like, thinking about it.
I'm gonna pull back to, like, the 10,000 foot level for a second, and talk about how, sometimes twists at the end of movies are good, but many times if people are like, the whole point is the twist, and like if you have a movie where it's like, but I know the twist and therefore this film is no longer worth watching, like I don't think you've made a very good movie. Yes. I have a thought. A real quick thought about that. Finish your thing now. I was just saying, whereas I feel like for both of these, one, Blade Runner sort of resists the twist.
Yeah.
And the thing also, these are two movies that
the twist is like at the
suspense.
beginning.
Yeah, the twist of the thing is fucking at the beginning, and then you gotta like live or not with the consequences of it.
Yeah.
But these are movies where I think that they are, you want to come back to them again and again because the endings give you something to think about, because you're not exactly sure what's going to happen. So you keep you want to go back and watch the movie again to see if this time you can kind of divine what's going to happen at the end, but you're not going to be able to.
Yeah. The thing I'm thinking of, and I think this could be kind of the final thought, because it's like a total shift in tone, is as I mentioned, I just finished watching Saw. Spoilers for Saw 2004, but like that movie came out almost 20 years ago, so get over it. And I figure you guys don't want to watch that movie, so...
I am absolutely categorically never watching Saw.
I might be able to maybe at some point, but it's definitely one of those ones that's going to be difficult for me.
The first one is not very gory, actually. Mm-hmm. If that helps.
It does help.
Nope.
So, the first one is not that gory. But, so the big twist at the end of Saw is, the plot is these two dudes have been locked in this bathroom, basically, for the whole movie, while their shit kind of happens around outside, and you think that they found the Jigsaw killer, like the guy. You think that they've killed him. He's, like, in the bathroom. One of the guys kills him. You think that they're done. The other guy, played by Carrie Elwes, goes for help. And the guy who's left behind, there's been a dead body in the room with him this whole time. And the dead body stands up.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And, removes his prosthetic makeup, and you realize that, that guy was the real Jigsaw killer. Because it's this dawning horror of, oh my god, the guy I just killed was another victim. He, finds a tape on the body and starts listening to it and realizes, oh my god, he was part of the game. And the killer stands up and looks at him and is the key for the chain that's holding you there just went down the bathroom drain at the beginning of the movie, basically. And you realize, oh, this guy is fucked. And the killer goes out the door and closes it behind him while the guy left behind just, screams at him.
Oh
horror.
My god.
And the credits start rolling, and you still hear the guy screaming.
No!
It's so fucked up. And I knew that going into this movie. I had read the wiki about it, forever ago. I knew that the guy on the floor was, the real Jigsaw killer. I knew that. But watching it was still, incredible. Oh my god. I'm just still thinking about it. And that is kind of the tie into those movies is even if you know the twist, a good movie will make it worth your while anyway. The dog in The Thing. I know that the dog is the alien the whole time. The guys are yelling at them in Norwegian the dog is evil, kill the dog. But every time I watch that dog fucking explode into meat, it's so fucked up, so...
Yep.
Yeah, boy.
Oh, man.
Movies are so good.
I love
I
movies.
love 'em. I love
movies,
so
and I'm so
much.
glad we decided to do a fucking movie podcast. It's fun.
Me too. It's so fun. Movies are really fun. Ugh. Okay. Happy birthday to me. And thanks for hanging out with us here on Sneople at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content, and come hit us up on Twitter at people_snake. Our theme music was done by Johnny Ronaldo. You can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. Our logo was designed by Bethany Luthold. You can check out at bethanyluthold.wixsite.com. If you got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you absolutely think we need to see, or your favorite double feature on the nature of being human, come say hello. And as always, please leave a review on iTunes, share the show with anyone who you think would like it. We're on Spotify. Please listen to our show. Movies are fun, and so are we.
All right.
As always, thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.